Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cassie Cunningham. I serve as the Professional Development Chair for the Ohio Association for College Admission Counseling. We are excited to have you here today to learn a little bit more about our annual conference and Guiding the Way to Inclusion conferences that will be happening next month at the end of April. I'm joined by some of our wonderful annual conference and GWI committee members. I'll let them introduce themselves here in a minute. But this session is recorded, so you can feel free to refer back to this information at any point. We will also have the chance for some questions and answers at the end. So if you do have questions about the conference or the contents of the conference, please feel free to use the Q&A feature at the bottom in the ribbon, and feel free to send those to us, and we'll have a little bit of time at the end to go ahead and answer those questions that you might have. So I'm going to pass it over to my colleague Chris to do a quick introduction and then get started on the first few slides of the presentation.
Thanks, Cassie. Hi, everyone. For those I haven't met, my name is Chris McCoy, and I currently have the honor of serving as president-elect for OACAC. So if you're a little bit new to OACAC, one of the duties of the president-elect is to kind of serve as the chair for conference planning. So I'm excited to officially welcome you to attend this year's conference, which will occur during April the 21st through Tuesday, April 23rd. We're going to be in Columbus, so we'll be right there in Central Ohio. So easy drive for anyone coming from the corners or even in the middle of the state. As part of our conference, the nice value of coming to annual conference GWI is you really gain the experience of two conferences for the price of one. So our first Sunday is devoted to Guiding the Way to Inclusion, which focuses a lot on diversity and inclusion elements within our work within college counseling and admissions professions. So again, that happens on Sunday. And then Monday and Tuesday still have elements of those discussions moving forward, but is more of that traditional annual conference setting. So I hope that you'll join us this year. We're really excited that our theme is going to be at the heart of it all. So if you're from Ohio, chances are you've heard that recently the state of Ohio came back to the theme, Ohio, the heart of it all. Also, as we know, as working professionals, there's a lot that we're taking on. There's been a lot happening in our profession. So what a better time for us to really talk about what is at the heart of all of that we do. So again, I'm going to hope that you'll join me. This conference wouldn't be possible without the work of the great conference planning committee. So their names are here on the slide. So we have representation from those from various corners of the profession. But these folks have been working nonstop, helping put a great conference together since the summer. So we started meeting around in June. So I can't provide enough thanks to all these individuals. So we have various committees as well. And so hopefully in the future, if that's something that you have an interest on, make sure to reach out on the OACA website to possibly join the conference planning committee. So with that, let's go ahead and start talking a little bit about the schedule.
All right, I think I'm up. So I'm Meredith Graham. I am on the professional development committee for the conference this year. I am the session co-chair with Cassie. I'm also the membership chair for OACAC at this moment. We always have a fantastic, very jam-packed conference, but there are a lot of times for you to sort of, sit back and relax and network as well. And we're going to talk about that along the way. Registration on Sunday, we will be there setting up a lot earlier than noon, but registration will be open at noon from noon to 5. And the exhibitors will be there. Chris is going to talk a little bit more about the exhibitors again later on as well. Please interact with the exhibitors, talk to them. They're really fascinating people. They've got some really interesting opportunities, and they help us make the conference possible. We're also going to be having a silent auction this year, bringing that back. We used to have one and we haven't done it the last few years, but we're bringing it back. And Cassie's going to talk more about that in a few minutes as well again. If you haven't ever attended annual conference or GWI, I can confirm that the content is fantastic. From the welcome to the session blocks, I've read over all of the different content for the different sessions that are in block A and block B, and there'll be breakout sessions where you can choose the different topics and go and sort of listen, and some of them, they tend to be pretty interactive. So you can really get a lot of really great information, different perspectives, learn about new things. and, get a chance to meet other colleagues within the profession that you may or may not know already. Then, networking break, again, the chance to sort of continue the conversations, and a lot of really vital conversations are sparked as a part of GWI and as a part of annual conference. You'll, sort of be discussing something that you hear in one of the session blocks or as a part of the keynote speaker. And you really start to dig into, that side conversation you have with someone who also raised their hand with a question at the same time. You really get a chance to broaden your network and learn a lot. And get through fireside chat then as well, which is a chance to really sort of have a more conversational and interactive opportunity to dig into some of these topics. There are going to be some breakout sessions, some sort of small discussion groups as a part of fireside chat. So again, really a chance to, to interact and really dig into some of the hard work, bring your heart along as well. And then GWI formally wraps up near the end of the day on Sunday, and then annual conference kicks off in the evening on Sunday. And then we so it's a seamless transition between GWI and the annual conference. Election results, networking, social. The social is always fun. More on that here in a few minutes. And then we move on to the first full day on Monday, the first full day of annual conference. And again, if you can only come for a single day, I would say coming on Sunday for the single day or coming on Monday for the single day really are the places to do it. We hope you can come for the entire conference, for both conferences, for the entire time. But if you can only pick one day, those are the two that have probably the meatiest content in terms of speakers, in terms of interaction. So you can come in and register early in the morning if you've got a long drive that you've had to do. And we have a first timer session in the morning. You'll hear a little bit more about that later on. And a chance to hear from Dr. Angel Perez, who is from NACAC. Very, very excited. Just really a very smart, thoughtful leader in NACAC. And so then again, breakout sessions, and you can see we've got not one, not two, not three, not four, but 5 different sessions on Monday that are different breakout sessions. And the content has been fantastic. I can tell you we had so many incredible proposals this year. And so again, you'll have a chance to sort of pick and choose from different sessions, different topics. And again, interact. We've worked to try to bring things that are interactive again, even within this as well. Having a conversations with different people. One of the things that we want to highlight here as well that we're doing that's new this year is the complimentary headshots that are on the schedule you see up there. I don't know about you, but like sometimes you get a headshot and it's been a few years. I know my hair is a very different color from the last time I got a headshot done. So I know I will be taking advantage of the complimentary headshots that are a part of the conference this year. So if you're here and that's something you want, absolutely get to raise your hand and participate in that. Again, more chances to interact with exhibitors, with other colleagues as well. And then the dinner in the evening, and again, another chance to sort of socialize and relax in the evening. So again, a lot of really fantastic content. And then on Tuesday tends to be a slightly slower day, the final day of the conference. Again, we've got breakfast. The exhibit area is open again. Fantastic sessions on Tuesday morning. If you can stay through Tuesday morning, I encourage you to do that because it's also really, really lovely to have a full room for that. And also then to hear Rob Franek as the keynote speaker. Again, I know Chris is going to talk a little bit more about that. It's going to be really, really an interesting session that he's going to be presenting. And then we tie it up and you're still out of here by lunchtime on that Saturday. So I'm not saying that you might want to stop at IKEA that's right down the street or anything like that. But if you happen to be headed out and you have a little bit of window of time, you have some flexibility before you head back to your regular daily life. So that was an overview of the schedule. You can see there's a lot that we've got for the schedule. It's a ton of content, a ton of time to sort of interact with people as well. And with that, then I'm going to pass it over to Lexi for the next bit.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lexi Alvarado. I am an admission counselor at the University of Toledo and the co-chair for Guiding the Way to Inclusion. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what GWI consists of and some of the really great things that we have planned. So as Meredith mentioned just a little bit ago, we do have 2 full session blocks during the Sunday portion, the GWI sessions. just some of the topics that we're going to be covering through our sessions: the Pride Index, cultivating inclusive leadership, rural communities and rural students, and then students in the foster care system. So we're really excited to implement some of these sessions throughout GWI to hopefully spark some really impactful conversations between you and your colleagues to bring back to your office and really start implementing some of the things that you'll learn through GWI. We also are really excited for our keynote speaker this year, who is Ace Schwartz. They are a trans non-binary middle school science teacher and will be coming to us to talk about belonging, how you cultivate belonging, what belonging looks like to you, and how they really came to understand this topic, to know about this topic, a little bit about their story. We did plug their Instagram in the bottom in case you want to connect with them before the conference and get a little sneak peek into what they'll be talking about and some of the things that they're passionate about throughout the work that they've been doing. And then last but not least, as far as GWI goes, we host an annual fireside chat. We are very excited this year to be implementing a newer format as long as I've been in OACAC, a little bit newer of a format in doing small groups. So as Meredith mentioned earlier, this is a really conversation-based session. It is meant for all professionals to be able to be in a safe space to discuss all of the things that you learned at GWI based in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. This will be small groups, and you will all have some sort of leader, small group leader, who is an experienced professional, whether in the field or within OACAC. We have lots of powerhouse professionals coming to lead our small groups. We're very excited. And this will also allow for an opportunity for you to network with these experienced professionals, hear about their experience and the things that they have seen throughout the profession in their years serving students and serving their institutions, and hopefully you'll be able to leave with a new mentor outside of that as well. And we will pass it back to Cassie.
Thanks, Lexi. As Meredith mentioned, the two of us co-chaired the programming committee. So we reviewed all of the different session proposals along with Lexi and her co-chair, Alicia, who wasn't able to be here today. So we are very excited about the educational sessions that will be offered at both conferences. But specifically when we talk about day 2 and day 3, I wanted to provide you with a few examples of the topics that you can expect at this conference, the different sessions that will be hosted. So throughout the Monday and Tuesday, we have 8 session blocks that are going to be right around 45 minutes in length, and it'll give you a chance to hear from our different speakers that are usually OACAC members. They're usually from all across the state. So it's a really cool opportunity to hear a lot of different passionate opinions about higher ed and college access and the high school side from people that are here in the state that can support you. We also have within the conference schedule, when we talk about the educational sessions, these TED style talks. And these are specifically geared towards vendors or exhibitors or educational support staff that maybe have a business or a project or something like that. They can then sell to high school counselors as beneficial to take advantage of, or maybe to the college side. So we call those people vendors or exhibitors. And a lot of their discussion happens again during the TED style. So those are about 15 minutes. So they're quick. They will take place in our Lyra room, and those are going to only be offered on Monday. So you can feel free to stop by and hear from those. So in the event that maybe one of the session blocks, the educational 45-minute session blocks, you'd rather hear from the TED Talks, you can actually go to 2 TED Talks during that time instead of 1 educational session. So it would be 15 minutes, and then there's a small break in between TED Talk 1 and 2, and then that would be within that 45-minute block as a heads up. We also, for the second year, are bringing back our middle management track. And these sessions are specifically for our middle level admissions or high school side counselors who have been in the profession a little bit, been around the block a time or two, and are looking for more elevated topics. So for example, we have a topic about ethical leadership that's going to be tagged in the conference app called Socio. We have one about learning to lead during times of transition and change. We have a session about job satisfaction and things that leaders need to know about job satisfaction and leadership as it relates to higher education. So if those topics are something that you're interested in, maybe again, you've been in the profession in a middle level role, like an assistant director or an associate director, you've been in the profession even for like 15 years. These are topics that I think you'll find beneficial. But outside of the middle level management track, we also have a few topics that are going to be addressed as our newer professional track. So it's going to be, if you're familiar with Summer Institute, which is another professional conference that OACAC sponsors, they're going to be SIS type of sessions. So for people that are newer in the profession, maybe less than a year, and this is the very first professional conference they're going to, and you might need to start out a little bit newer. When we talk about topics, there are a few sessions throughout the conference that are going to be geared towards our newer professionals. So you can watch out for those in the conference app. Outside of those two tracks, we have a variety of just other non-tracked sessions for community-based organization members, independent educational consultants, our high school side folks, our college counselors, and also our higher ed or admission folks too. So a few examples of our non-tagged track sessions include using your brand within Canva, welcoming new admissions team members, or I guess really anyone to a new staff. We also have some stuff about the essay process, the age-old ACT, SAT, which ones are going to be better for my students. We have some just in general about being test optional. We have topics about student workers. So there are some really exciting sessions that will happen. And again, there's 8 blocks that are offered between Monday and Tuesday. So I'm going to pass it back over to Lexi to talk about our first timer session.
A little bit about the first timer session, and I get really excited talking about this because my first timer session was super beneficial to my professional development. I met a lot of my very first admissions OACAC friends through my first timer session just a couple of years ago, who I still talk to this day. So it kind of excites me for everyone to be able to attend this session. The best part of the first timer session is you're surrounded by other first time conference goers. So whether these people are, professionals who have only been in the profession for a week, or they've been in it for 6 months, or some have been in it for a year, are attending this session. It is a really great opportunity to network with other new professionals. One of my favorite parts of being a part of this session was being able to connect with those new professionals, because we were really going through this together, getting onboarded and understanding what it means to be an admission professional, our first travel season, all of these really great things that we learned through that. It will tell you a lot about how to maximize your time at conference, how to create connections, not only with other professionals, but with exhibitors, with committee members, things like that. And it will really give you a time to talk to us. OACAC exec board members, I like to think we're a pretty fun bunch. So we definitely want to connect with you at conference. If you are a first-time conference goer and you are planning on attending this session, we want to get to know you. We want to connect with you. And of course, one day we want you to be on our board. So definitely come to this session. It will be a really great time. And I know that there's a lot of great activities planned as well for you all.
Excellent. So as we've kind of talked about those individual sessions, when we break out into small groups, we're also going to have time together to collectively come together in a large session. And that's when we're going to have some various speakers. So we are very excited to announce to everyone, so you are the first ones to kind of officially know, that our Monday speaker will be NACAC CEO, Dr. Angel Perez. For anyone who's been to NACAC, definitely knows that Dr. Perez is a very dynamic speaker, very engaging, and has just a absolutely fantastic story of how he found himself to higher education and made that his career. Many affiliates try to get Dr. Perez to come be their speaker, and he has a very busy schedule. So we are very excited to have him come to Ohio, spend some time with us, and really get to meet you. I think this is another perk of coming to conference, is that sometimes the NACAC conference can be pretty cost prohibitive. It's in September, and that could be a barrier for some people. So coming to annual conference this year you'll have that chance to interact with the NACAC CEO. What we're going to do is similar, instead of having a keynote address per se, this will be a moderated conversation. So we're not just talking about NACAC, but we're really going to talk about all those topics that are at the heart of it all, of what we talk about. Dr. Perez, he's been very forthcoming about challenges with employee burnout and staying motivated. And so I know we're definitely going to be talking about that, of how we take care of ourselves and how do we take care of others as we give a lot of ourselves within this profession. I'm sure we're going to talk about a lot of those hot button, hot topics in our profession that's happening right now. And then also in forthcoming communications that will promote the annual conference, there'll be a link for you to actually submit some of your questions. So that's our hope, is to take some of those curated questions from our members themselves and get to ask directly. So I'm looking forward to having that time where we can sit down. If you've been to NACAC, usually it's Angel in a chair interviewing somebody. So we're very excited to kind of flip it on him a little bit and for him to be the interviewee versus the interviewer. And so that will happen on Monday morning. Then as we close our time together, we're really excited to have from the Princeton Review, Rob Franick. If anyone has seen Rob, he is even more high energy there and very passionate about current topics. A topic that has come up in many conversations is the role of AI and what's that look like with essay generation and the admissions process. So he's going to be touching a lot on that popular topic, but then also kind of bring our time over the 3 days to a close. So we'll be weaving in themes over those final days as we prepare to depart back to the work world. So that gives you a little bit of idea of our speakers and our sessions that will probably make you pretty hungry. So we want to kind of talk about what kind of meals and snacks are going to be provided to you during conference.
I don't know about you, but I'm, shall we say, food motivated? So like having good food at a conference is a big thing for me. And I think if you've ever been to any conference before, it can be a little hit or miss sometimes. So first, let me say that all of the meals and snacks that are listed on here are included with your registration. So if you are attending the conference, you will get fed. We have actually held the conference, the annual conference in GWI, at this particular hotel before, pre-COVID era. And they always had fantastic food before. And when our team did our on-site visit before, a few weeks ago, I guess it was about 6 weeks ago, we got a chance to taste a bunch of the stuff from the menu as we're putting together the final list of food for the event. It's all good. And we're also trying to be very mindful of different dietary necessities. So, for folks who are sort of not on the eating animals kind of thing, if you're sort of on the vegan or vegetarian, there will be options. If you're somebody who's a little bit more on the carnivore side of things, there will be options. Gluten-free, nut-free. We are trying to be as aware of it as possible to make sure that you can be fed and healthy and happy, and that you don't have to worry about feeding yourself while you're listening to all the great sessions. Because I get really hungry at conferences. Your brain is working a lot. You need some snacks and some food. The other great thing is that a lot of the snack breaks also offer the opportunity, again, for networking, for socializing, and for interacting with the different exhibitors. So I know we've talked about those a little bit, but getting a chance to sort of learn a little bit about, hey, what's this particular company? I've heard the name, but I don't know anything about it. Or, if it's an organization you know something about, you get a chance to like ask them a question that you've wanted to ask, a burning question. It's a great way to sort of make those interactions. So you will be fed, the food will be tasty.
So one of the highlights of our time at conferences as we gather together is really to honor our awardees and have some election results. So during that time, there will be a little bit of business for OACAC. So especially if it's your first time, just be prepared for that. It's going to be great. It's your time to experience potentially your first OACAC membership meeting. So that's a time where you'll hear about the financial updates of the organization. But then this year we did have election. You will have an email coming very shortly for OACAC members to vote in our election. So this year you'll be voting to elect a president-elect and a treasurer-elect. Both of those positions serve 3-year terms. You'll also be electing a secretary who serves a 1-year term. And new this year, we have our Ohio delegates, which is a newer position to the exec board, where we strategically have different delegates who will represent different areas of the state. And those people will be your direct kind of connection between yourself at your work and OACAC. So we have some plenty of folks. So thank you to everyone who has self-nominated or nominated another person to run, and we greatly value that. And so we'll have those election results to reveal at conference. And then we also reveal our award winnings. So these are just a list of some of the awards that we give out. The Jack Scott Award is the highest honor from OACAC. We also offer some of our brand new members. We honor those with a life membership to OACAC. And then the M. Gene Palio Human Relations Award really goes to an organization or a person who's really advancing relations amongst groups of people. So this is our time to really take a break, reflect and celebrate those accomplishments of our fellow members.
So I want to just give a little plug and talk a little bit about something that's really important to us at OACAC and throughout our organization, and something that our Inclusion, Access, and Success Committee works really hard on throughout the year, and that is our Charles L. Warren Memorial Heritage Scholarship. This is a scholarship that is awarded. It's a $1,500 scholarship for the first year for students attending an Ohio institution. So they have been either recommended and applied, have to have a counselor recommendation, all of these other things and requirements. We have previously only been able to give out 4 scholarships, but this year, with the help of you all who have been involved in the DEIB certificate program, all of those proceeds were given to the Warren Scholarship. And so this year we are fortunate enough to have enough funds to give out 6 scholarships. So we're very excited to be able to be giving out a couple more scholarships this year. If you are a part of the certificate program, you can just know that your funds went to a really good cause, and you will be recognized at the conference in some capacity. We're really excited to get to recognize you all for all the work that you're putting in getting the certificate. I also have the honor of serving as an entertainment chair for our annual conference. So I get to plan all of the really fun stuff that you guys get to do. I'm basically the CEO of fun, so don't forget it. Come find me during the conference. So we have a lot of great activities lined up for everyone. On the first night, we will be hosting DJ Byrne, who came highly recommended to us, a DJ from Columbus, who will be hosting Music Bingo, which we're very excited about. We will be playing from 4 decades of Music Bingo, so we're really excited about that and excited for him to host that. The second night, we will be hosting Howl at the Moon, which is a dueling pianos group that actually Chris recommended, so we're really excited to bring them. They do take requests, and they play nonstop for 3 hours dueling piano, so that should be a really great time as well. Throughout the conference, you will want to make sure that you download our Socio app, because through the conference app, we will be putting out announcements throughout the day randomly. One of my favorites is find someone on the presidential team and take a selfie. So then you can meet them and you get a cute little selfie for when you leave conference, and you just get a little prize from that. And then we will be playing a game throughout the conference as well, where you can receive points for attending sessions and typing game codes. And a really great prize comes at the end. If you are the winner of said game, then you do get a free 2025 conference registration. So definitely make sure to keep on your toes and pay attention to that Socio app throughout the conference.
So I also have the distinct pleasure of heading 2 different committees for the annual conference as well, like Lexi. My colleague Greg Landis at the University of Akron and I are co-chairing our silent auction committee, and we are excited to bring a lot of really cool items that have been graciously donated from companies, restaurants, organizations, sports teams from across the state. And I really like that this year specifically, since we are in the greater Columbus area, that we're going to have a really nice group of members across the state that will be attending, since, it's very easy to get to Columbus from all different places in Ohio. So Greg and I have done a lot of really good work to bring together local donations from your area that might attract you to bid. And all of the proceeds for the silent auction will go towards the inclusion, access, and success initiatives, like Lexi mentioned, the Warren Scholarship. So in addition to the PD, the Professional Development, Inclusion, Access, and Success certificate that we've hosted now for the second year in a row, proceeds from this auction will also help with some of the different scholarships and other IAS initiatives like Camp College. So the bidding for silent auction, you'll be able to view all the different items that we've put together starting on Sunday when registration opens around noon. And then right before dinner, we're going to close that. So you can enjoy dinner. So between 12 and 6, you'll be able to stop by in our lobby area, look at the items, and then submit any bids that you'd like. And then we'll, like I said, close that down right around dinner on Sunday night. But don't worry, if you are attending Monday only and you'd still like to bid, we will open that up again on Monday, right around registration time at 8 a.m. And we are going to close that before the last educational session begins at 4 p.m. It works out really nicely because right around 3:30 to 4, we have a networking break. So you are able to stop by and get some desserts, talk and get to know some of the sponsors and exhibitors, but also keep having those conversations that you might be having in the hallway with other colleagues after the sessions have ended. So feel free to stop by our silent auction table and check your bids and maybe submit one last one before you go to your final educational session for the day. And I wanted to provide a few different examples of some of the different items we've been able to secure from places again across Ohio. So we have merchandise and gift cards from breweries across Ohio and even some different wineries. So if you are like me and really appreciate a nice craft beer, you might want to rep your favorite brewery. We have a variety of merchandise items from places like Brewdog and Hoffer House, JFB, Sonder, and Brain Brew Custom Whiskey. I have so many donations that I can't possibly fit them on this slide. So there are a lot of really great things. And like I said, if you want to grab a Brewdog hat or maybe a flannel or have a new pint glass that you'd like, we have all different types of merchandise items from breweries and wineries across Ohio. We also have signed sports merchandise from a variety of athletes. So if you do know Greg Landis from the University of Akron, you know he's a big collector. So he has graciously donated a few different items that he's procured over the years, like signed items from Ted Ginn Jr. from the greater Cleveland area, or Cardale Jones, Jim Tressel. And we also have ticket vouchers. So if you like to go to the Cincinnati or Columbus Zoo, you want to check out the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame up in Cleveland. Minor league baseball teams like the Rubber Ducks and the Dayton Dragons, they've all donated some ticket vouchers to our organization. So we'll be able to raffle off some of those and put those in the silent auction. Lastly, if you are interested in some of these items or you'd like to see what else we've put together, please make sure to bring your wallet or your checkbook and get ready to bid. We will accept cash. We also will accept credit card and debit card payments. And if you are old school and still have a checkbook, you're welcome to bring that too. So we are excited for the silent auction. And if you have any specific questions or maybe your organization would like to donate something, please feel free to reach out to me directly. And I'd be happy to share some more information. So just generally all the different professional benefits, I'll pass it over to Meredith to give you a nice holistic view of why you should be attending conference.
Yeah, absolutely. You're probably starting to get the idea that we all think that there's a huge benefit in being here. Understandably, we're on the committee. We do see a huge benefit. And for me, I think the best benefit, the biggest benefit, is the fact that this is so much high impact professional development in such a short window of time. I mean, OACAC does a fantastic job of providing ongoing professional development opportunities throughout the year with different in-person events, but all of the webinar series, the different certificates that we've got going, so many different opportunities, which is really, really fantastic. But this is sort of the best bang for your buck in a short amount of time in really, I mean, it can be intense. There's a lot that's going on in a short window of time. But you saw how many educational sessions that there are across the two conferences for one. So across 48 hours, you can learn so much in 48 hours. So, making sure that you have the opportunity to take notes and step away briefly if you need to sort of recharge a little bit. One of the other things that I love about annual conference and GWI is it's interactive and it's real time. And when you are like, again, webinars, fantastic opportunities, especially, if you're watching this as a recording and aren't able to be here. But, there's something really special and really helpful about being able to ask a question, whether it's in a session, raising your hand and asking a session question and having a little bit of a back and forth, or being able to follow up with somebody afterwards and sort of say, hey, I went to your talk this morning and I heard you talk about X, Y, and Z, and I had a question about this, or I have a resource to share with you. And so there are so many different dynamics that can play in when you have the opportunity to interact in real time, right around the same time that this is actually happening. And you can get new perspectives. I remember 2 years ago at annual conference in Cleveland, there was sort of an impromptu session. We had a speaker who had to cancel at the last minute, which, it happens sometimes. And so there was a roundtable, and Chris actually was the one who facilitated it. It's just sort of like hot topics roundtable. And we ended up having this entire discussion in the room around self-reported transcripts. And depending on where you sit within the sphere of college counseling and admissions, you probably have opinions about self-reported transcripts. And it was really fascinating to get some new perspectives and to understand why this organization felt like they were vital to their success and why this organization felt like it was a massive obstacle to their process. And to just really have some new understanding about how we can make this better for all of us as professionals, but also for the students that we are working with to help them as well. Also getting a chance to sort of hear about industry trends, getting a chance to hear about AI in college admissions. That is definitely a hot topic. It's one we've all sort of been scrambling to try and wrap our brains around as quickly as possible. So having a chance for that one, for example, the standardized testing with test optional and all of the changes, again, having that real-time intensive expert on site where you can ask questions and follow up is really important. And then I have renewing connections and networking as two different things. Renewing connections, I will say, it's the chance year over year, especially once you're really in the profession or with the connections that you already have, even if you're a newer professional, the people that you've met, if you've gone to a high school visit and met a counselor there, or if you're a newer counselor and you have reps who have come to your office, to be able to go to this central location and see them and renew those connections, have those conversations, develop ongoing, professional relationships or even friendships with them. The being able to go and see people that I haven't seen in a year. And I'm also a big hugger in addition to being food motivated. And so, to have the opportunity to, sort of see these people that I really enjoy and adore and hug them and interact and sort of renew those friendships and check in and see how everything's going for everyone. And then both the formal and the informal networking. And I want to, we actually have an entire slide just talking about networking, which is the next slide, Kathy. And I want to talk about networking in particular. There's so many opportunities to be had across this state of Ohio. I've lived and worked in multiple states, even within the college counseling and admissions industry. Like I've done this a number of different places, and the number of opportunities that we have in the state of Ohio is bonkers. We really have fantastic opportunities as professionals. And so having the chance to learn about those opportunities, even just overhearing a conversation, opening your mind to some possibility maybe you didn't know existed for you as a professional, being able to sort of focus on what does it look like to sort of become a middle manager and talk with people who are in roles that you aspire to, having those chances to sit down and have one-on-one conversation at the conference. I will say so many of my opportunities professionally within OACAC and through the state have come simply from networking at annual conference. I actually presented a session 2 years ago, and Cassie came up to me afterwards and said, hey, you want to talk about presenting this one as a part of the webinar series, but then we also have this exciting opportunity, this college counseling certificate thing we're kind of kicking around. And she and another counselor were like, yeah, we should do this. And so we ended up doing that. And that was all because of networking. And, and I think sometimes people think that networking has to be sort of this formal, proper thing. And it can be. I mean, I don't want to say that it never is, but sometimes the best networking just happens because you happen to be sitting next to somebody in a session and a slide makes you laugh. If somebody puts a particular meme up on a slide and it makes you laugh, and and then you start to have a conversation with them, and then the opportunities that show up simply through those conversations, really, really incredible. So I obviously cannot say enough, whether it's formal or informal, and then during the different breaks, that we have, sitting next to somebody new at lunch or at breakfast and striking up a conversation, walking down the hallway, swapping business cards. You have plenty of opportunities, and I really encourage you to take advantage of it.
The other thing I wanted to add with the networking opportunity slide is the second piece about signing up to volunteer. So our colleague Adam from Ohio University and Kristen, they are coordinating our volunteer opportunities for conference. So if you are sitting here wondering, how can I get involved? What types of ways can I help the day of or during the conference, like on site? We have a lot of really cool volunteer opportunities, maybe with the silent auction, moderating some of our different breakout sessions. So we will be sending out some information in a job form and a sign up genius that you can sign up for some different shifts throughout conference. So it doesn't necessarily require that you had to be present, 6 months ago or over the summer, like Chris mentioned, when we started planning conference. You can actually sign up to just help during the 2 or 3 days that you'll be with us. And we'll be sending out some information about what to expect and how you can give back, and spend a little bit of time getting to know our exec board and other members at the conference.
So now that we've kind of talked to you about all the ways that conference kind of will provide to you and all the ways that you can be involved, we really couldn't do it without our exhibitors and our sponsorship. So we just want to highlight our exhibitors and sponsors. We'll thank them during the conference, but we'll also have an area within the hotel. One thing you'll find that at our hotel, we're all going to be pretty in a general area, so we're not going to be walking great distances. And so we'll have our exhibitors right there in our main foyer there. And that time is really a great time for either between a session or sometimes during our dedicated networking and exhibitor breaks, is to talk to those who are exhibiting. I think for sometimes it can feel a little intimidating, right? If we're just honest, but it's one of those things that can really benefit us as professionals. I know for me, about a couple years ago, there was an exhibitor at OACAC, and I started talking to them about maybe how their product could help within our college advising office, and really determined that it really wasn't the best time to implement that. But we kept that relationship going, and 2 years later, now that product is something that we use every day, and many of our students benefit from a platform that I was introduced to as an exhibitor at OACAC. So definitely encourage everyone to take time and thank them. Also, just as a shameless plug, there is still time to become an exhibitor or a sponsor. So we are always looking for that. So if you know of a company or even a group of colleges or universities that have an interest in being an exhibitor or sponsor, feel free. You can reach out to me or Nina Barnes over at the University of Akron, and we will be happy, more than happy, to have that conversation with you. And so with that, let's talk about the registration process.
So now you've heard about all of the great things about conference and you are so excited to register. You're going to do it in 5 minutes. I know all of you are. I trust you that you're going to leave here and that's the first thing you're going to do. So just a little bit about our registration process. You can find all of our registration on OACAC's website, where you can go and find all of our professional development opportunities. The website is just oacac.org, very easy to remember. You can head over to our website and find the registration. It is across the banner at the top, so easy to find. These are all of the options that you can choose. The Sunday to Tuesday member rate for members. This is all 3 days of conferences with everything included, for $275. And then if you do the 1-day registration, you can choose whichever day you're going to be there. I know Meredith kind of talked earlier, like this might be the best day, this might be the best day during the actual schedule portion. So definitely go through, take a look if you are just going to do 1-day registration, and then the non-member rate as well for the Sunday to Tuesday, which does include meals and experiences. You can pay through that form as well. At the end, it will bring you to a payment page where you can pay online. We do only accept online payment, so you can pay with a credit or debit card through our website.
So I want to briefly touch base on the opportunity for grant funding opportunities. And I know for some that the cost of attending conference could be a barrier to that attendance. And so for OACAC, we don't want that cost to be a barrier. So there are limited grant funds available We do typically give preference to first-time attendees. We want everyone to try to have that first OACAC experience. So there is a grant funding form located on the OACAC website that can be filled out. Then that will be reviewed. The grant fund comes from a variety of sources. A lot of it's generated even within OACAC. So a lot of the events we do, as we host college fairs, as we do those operating budgeting exercises that you'll hear about during the business meeting, just know as we're bringing that revenue that we're constantly trying to reinvest it back into our members. And so this is just one way that we do that. So again, if you have any questions about the grant funding, you can reach out to myself or to our executive assistant, Lavana, and we'd be happy to have that conversation with you.
This conference is located at a hotel, which makes it really convenient for you to stay at these accommodations and then just scurry downstairs for the conference session. If you need to run upstairs and change before dinner, you're able to do that. It's very centrally located, where you really don't have to leave once you arrive on Sunday night until you leave again on Tuesday morning, I guess Tuesday afternoon. So if you are needing to stay at the Hilton Columbus Polaris, that's the name of the hotel. So you can check that out. We have a link to the room reservation block. So we take it upon ourselves to make sure that this room rate is relatively affordable for our attendees at $167 per night. And if you are a tax exempt institution, you're able to provide your tax exempt number and they'll be able to take care of that for you. And we have a few different room types that are available, but you can reserve that room through our room block link. We do encourage you to book your room as soon as possible. The priority date is March 23rd, but we do anticipate selling out of our room blocks before that date. So if you have registered for the conference and you have not booked your hotel, make sure to do that soon. If you are going to be coming to conference and you'll be registering for the conference soon, and you know you're going to be staying, make sure to do that with the same urgency as you registering for conference. We, as Meredith mentioned earlier, have hosted our conference at this location pre-COVID. And pre-COVID, we did sell out the entire hotel. There were no available rooms left for our guests and conference attendees. And a number of our conference attendees actually had to stay at an off-site hotel location. And although I'm really glad they were still able to attend, that we had so many people attending that conference, that was really great news. It does kind of make it inconvenient when you have to drive to conference. If you do need to, like I mentioned earlier, run upstairs and grab something, or you forgot your business cards in your book bag or your luggage, you can just take the elevator upstairs. It makes it a little bit harder to do that if you're not staying on site. So if you do anticipate staying in the greater Columbus area, make sure to book your room reservations as soon as possible. So if you are wondering what to bring specifically to conference, we gave you a few different pieces of advice. So beforehand, we have our Socio or WebEx app. I do encourage you to access that ahead of time. If you register for conference, we'll send you a nice email a few days before with a recap of conference and also some suggestions on what to bring. But we do encourage folks to download the WebEx app, customize their profile. If you've attended a conference with us before, like Articulation or Summer Institute, this is the same platform we've used at other ones. So you can actually keep your profile and it'll just pull over into the other conferences. But if you've not attended any of our conferences before, you'll want to make sure to customize your profile. This is also a way, going back to Meredith's point about networking, you're going to be able to network through the app. So again, you're going to create your profile. And as you meet people, you're able to connect with them through the app. And then that way, when you go home or back to the office and you're like, oh, who is that person that I met in the hallway? I know that they worked at Cleveland State University. I can't remember their name. Yeah, you can go onto Cleveland State's website and look through the admission counselors, but you can also refer back to the Socio app, and there is messaging features within that. And that also is really nice in the event that you meet someone new at the conference and you'd like to make sure you get a seat next to them in a session that you'd like to go to. It kind of gives you the chance to speak with those people without giving out your personal information until you feel comfortable doing that. it wouldn't be a conference without bringing your business cards. One of my colleagues who attended conference for the very first time a few years ago, post-COVID, she was like, I can't believe I went to this conference and didn't bring a single business card. So don't be like her. I'm not going to out her name, but she could not believe she never even thought to bring business cards. And that was a huge disservice. So please make sure to bring your business cards so that you can drop those along to different people as you meet them. And as I mentioned earlier, make sure to bring money for that silent auction so that we can raise some money for the Warren Scholarship and all the different IAS initiatives. And then lastly, Lexi and Khalil have done a really great job planning fun, exciting, and engaging entertainment activities, and most of them are going to be music based. So I anticipate seeing you on the dance floor with the CEO of Fun, Lexi Alvarado. So please make sure to bring excitement, and then also just bring your best self. This is a really exciting conference, so we hope that this session was beneficial for you to learn a little bit more, and we hope that you will bring yourself to conference as well. So before we dive into any questions that you have as attendees, please feel free to use this time to start sending in questions that you have for us. We put together a few frequently asked questions that we get from people on the road or people that we talk to, or emails that we receive from folks. So I'm going to throw out a few of these questions. Chris, Lexi, and Meredith, whoever would like to jump in, please feel free to, and then we'll get to any questions that our attendees are submitting. So Chris, I think this question's for you. What dress code for conference? What should I bring? Are there certain things we're going to wear on certain days?
So there's not a set dress code, but I would say you'll see a variety of dress. So my number one dress code kind of rules: come comfortable and just be yourself. We want you to be comfortable so that way you can network and feel comfortable as we're talking to everyone and being in the sessions. I would say you might see a variety of, some people will wear shirts from their institution, particularly on Monday. That's pretty common. Some people tend to dress business casual. Some go casual. So you'll see jeans and you'll see slacks and everything in between, and that is absolutely okay. I would say for some though, if you've ever been to a hotel conference, sometimes the rooms can get a little cold. So I think layers is always a great tip, right? The pro tip is probably layers and comfortable shoes.
That's a good suggestion. Meredith, where should I park for the conference? Do I have to pay to park? I know you may have had to do that in the past. This year, are we doing that at Columbus?
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I think is a great, really great about this location. We do not have to pay to park for this conference. We get to self-park, so it is a, we don't have to do like last year, it was there was a complicated kind of a parking situation. This year, it is just a parking lot associated with the hotel. And so if you are just there, if you're checking into a room, like for folks who are going to be staying in the rooms, if you're planning on checking in, there's sort of the front of the hotel. You know what the front of a hotel looks like. For folks who are just coming for the conference part of it, there's actually an entrance past the front of the hotel, and you'll see it when you pull in. You'll like drive past the front of the hotel, and then there'll be this other set of double doors if you just want to go in the direct entrance to the conference part of the hotel. You can get there from the front entrance. You'll just be walking a little farther. It's not really that far within the hotel, but it's actually very easy parking. The lot is large. Of course, you know, carpooling for the environment, probably not a bad thing if that's an option. But if you have to drive yourself, you shouldn't have any trouble parking on site without any issue at all.
This one might be for Chris. Where can I find the OACAC W-9 form? I need it to cut a check. My school district asked for it. Where do I find that?
Sure. If you need a copy of the W-9, I believe there's a copy sometimes usually stored on the OAC's website, usually I think under the College Fair tab. But if not, if you just email, if you go on the OAC website under there's an annual conference page, you'll have both myself and Lavana's email. Email either one of us and we can make sure to get that document to you.
And then at other conferences like Articulation, school counselors that need contact hours are able to request a certificate through the Articulation committee chairs. Are we offering that opportunity through annual conference? I don't know who might be the best person to ask for that, or GWI. I think that's going to be me then as the PD chair. Yes, we can provide a certificate. So please email Lavana, our executive administrator, and we can put those together. Another question about the hotel. Chris, are we able to check in early? Do you know? Oh, you're on mute. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm muted. So a lot of it might be depending on room availability. So that'll be something, if you want to call the host hotel maybe a day or two before, they might be able to see what the capacity looks like. Because if the hotel is full, particularly the night before, that might be a little bit more difficult trying to get early access to your room. So it's plausible, but I don't want to guarantee that out. So just check with the hotel.
Perfect. And for the Socio app, if you had a chance to download that, or maybe you already had it downloaded, you're probably wondering what the code is so that you can access Socio. Our programming team of Chris, Meredith, Lexi, Alicia, and I are still working on the content for the Socio app. So at this point, it's not ready to be publicized with all of the conference details, but we will be sharing that information probably 1 or 2 weeks before the conference, so you can go ahead and access that. But if you are eager to get into the app, you don't have to do it right now. We will give you access and information a little bit closer to the date, as our groups are still working on tying up some loose ends and making that finalized for people. I think that those are all of the questions that we usually hear, questions that you've submitted. If you do think of anything else during the next month and a half before conference registration ends, you are welcome to contact our professional development email. It's professionaldevelopment@oacac.org. You can also contact our executive administrator, Lavana, and that email is execadmin@oacac.org. And we're always happy to help. You can also, as Chris mentioned, find his contact information if you go to the conference website on the oacac.org site. So please feel free to reach out to us if you have further questions or need further support advocating for yourself to attend conference. Before we sign off, since I know we only have a few minutes left before our hour, Chris, Lexi, Meredith, anything else you'd like to share or things you'd like to leave on?
So I would definitely encourage everyone to keep viewing on the OACA website for our annual conference. There's that page. I know for some people, they want access to the app because you want to see all the sessions. As that app starts getting updated, probably in the next week to 2 weeks, that website will be updated. So you'll be able to see kind of all the sessions and everything as everything starts getting lined up. So if you need to see those will be there, or if you have questions, reach out. But we really hope to see everyone there. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in about a month and a half in Columbus.
Even if you're a little bit nervous about coming, if you're a young, newer professional, or you're somebody who's a little bit more on the introverted side, if this is kind of overwhelming for you, there are lots of friendly people, and please do come. It is really fantastic professional development, and you will make connections faster than you realize. So don't let that intimidate you into not coming.
I echo what everyone else said. We're really excited to see everyone in Columbus. And to Meredith's point, I am definitely an introvert. No one on this call will believe me, but I am very shy. I am very introverted. And I have all of these great colleagues that I'm now friends with because of conferences like these. So I'm really excited to see everyone. Don't be afraid to come and talk to us as, executive board members, as committee members, ask us questions. We want you to get involved, and we want you to enjoy and maximize your time at the conference. So hope to see you all in Columbus, and really excited.
Well, thank you everyone for your time, especially to Lexi, Chris, and Meredith for sharing information about conference and all of your good work in putting this together and organizing it. Thank you to those who are attending for your time and your interest, and we do hope that you'll be able to attend the conference and see us in person. In my opinion, this is one of my favorite professional development opportunities that we provide, in addition to the wonderful content we have. Really, the people in this state are really special to me. The people that we have as resources are wonderful people making good work in this profession, but they're also just really good people and really good friends. So starting in this profession about 6 years ago, I did not think that I would be friends with people in higher ed. I thought it was going to be a job that I was going to go to. I kind of like the people that I work with, but I wouldn't probably talk to other people in the profession. But within the last few years, it's really changed drastically. And some of my best friends, after college are people that I've met through this organization. So I think a lot of people can attest to that as well on the call and people that are involved. So we're looking forward to making those connections and sparking the connections in April next month. So we will look forward to seeing you there. And I hope that you have a great rest of the day. So thanks for spending the last hour with us.